Adventure awaits, becoming beyond what's familiar. Welcome back, my beautiful souls, to Becoming with Erika, a space where we heal out loud, grow through what tried to break us, and become everything we are meant to be. And if this is your first time listening, hi, I'm your host, Erika, and I'm so glad you're here. Today, I want to ask you something. When was the last time you did something that made you feel alive? Not because you had to, not because someone expected you to, but because something inside of you whispered, go see what's out there. Because I think somewhere along the way, we stop exploring. As children, everything is an adventure. Every bug, every tree, every neighbor, every question. We were curious. We weren't afraid to look silly. We weren't worried about failing. We simply explored. Then adulthood happened. And before we realized it, our lives became routines. Wake up, go to work, come home, repeat. We become experts at surviving, but beginners at living. I think we're all guilty of it. Somewhere along the way, we abandon the child within us. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you to be childish. I'm encouraging you to be childlike. There's a huge difference. What if today we explore life the way children do? With curiosity, with wonder, without worry about looking foolish, ask questions, laugh more, be a little silly. Think about something that excites you, or maybe even something that scares you, something you've always wanted to try. Then go try it with childlike wonders. Because here's something I've been realizing becoming isn't just about changing your mindset, it's about changing your experience. Every new experience introduces you to a version of yourself you've never met before. You don't truly know who you are until life gives you the opportunity to discover it. Maybe that's through traveling where you've never been, taking a class you've always wanted to take, joining a church group, learning pickleball, starting a business, trying pottery, hiking a mountain, moving to another city, saying yes to coffee with someone new, or even making a random bowling date with someone you've never met before. Every adventure introduces you to another piece of yourself. Here's the funny thing. Adventure is exciting and terrifying because excitement and fear feel almost identical to the body. The heart races, the stomach flutters, the mind starts asking questions. Unfortunately, they're usually not childlike questions. Instead, there are questionings like, what if I fail? What if I don't fit in? What if I'm terrible at this? But what if we started asking childlike questions instead? What if I love it? What if I discover my favorite hobby? What if I meet my future best friend? What if I become my next opportunity? What if I discover my calling? What if I meet my future spouse? What if this is part of my purpose? None of these things can be discovered if I never leave what's familiar. I know that from my own experience, because that's exactly how I met my person. Here's the funny story. He actually sent me a friend request on Facebook twice on two different profiles. Okay, now before your mind goes anywhere crazy, he already had these profiles. They weren't created to get my attention, although that would be flattering in a very crazy way. The first time he added me, I think it was sometime around August. He told me later he sent me the request because he thought I was attractive. I accepted, honestly thinking he was trying to connect because of a mutual friend. We exchanged a few messages, nothing major. Eventually, the conversation faded and life moved on. Then, sometime in September, I got another friend request, different profile. I had no idea it was the same guy, so I had accepted it again. To his surprise, we were friends again. One day, he made a joke about bears running up a mountain. Apparently, my reaction wasn't quite what he was hoping for. His last message was something like, "Well, I'll show myself out." Poor guy. It wasn't personal. Life was just busy. His message got buried under everything else that was happening. Eventually, he commented on one of my posts and we started talking again. Then he asked if I'd like to go bowling. At the time, I had my kids that weekend, so I couldn't go. I remember telling him I would love to, but maybe another time. Looking back, I imagine that had to be discouraging. 2 friend requests, conversations that fizzled, and a bowling date turned down. Most people would have stopped trying, not just with me, but maybe altogether. A week or two later, I reached back out. I told him I was free on Wednesday and I asked if the rain check was still good. Instead of bowling, I suggested grabbing coffee after work. Now, here's the weird part. This man doesn't like coffee at night. Who doesn't like coffee at night? That probably should have been my first red flag. I'm kidding. So instead, he suggested ice cream. We realized we lived close to each other, so we met at an ice cream shop that wasn't far from my home. I knew he was nervous. I knew he was questioning whether he was good enough. He later told me he almost canceled because he didn't think I'd like him. Meanwhile, I was asking myself the exact same question. What if he doesn't like me? Am I kidding myself? I'm too old to be doing this. And honestly, why did I agree to ice cream? I hate being cold. But we both took a chance. We both showed up. We both stepped outside of our comfort zone. And we're both still together today. I can't speak for him, but I can say this. This has been one of the greatest adventures of my life. And I'm so proud of myself for saying yes, because if I haven't, I would have never met the version of me that exists because of this relationship. And if we're being really, really honest, we wouldn't have met because this podcast would not exist. That's a story for another time. You know what's funny? We call them what ifs questions when we're afraid. But that day, both of us had the same what ifs. And the difference is we didn't let the questions make the decision. We let courage make the decision. I think sometimes we're more loyal to the familiar feeling than we are to our future. Even when the familiar hurts us, because familiar feels safe. But safe doesn't always mean you're growing. Growth almost always asks us to leave behind what's predictable. Think about every great adventure you ever heard about. Nobody remembers the person who stayed home because it was comfortable. Every adventure began with one decision: to step outside, to say yes, to explore. And maybe the greatest adventure isn't a place. Maybe it's becoming someone you've never been before. A more confident version of yourself, a healthier version, a more peaceful version, a version that laughs more, loves more, forgives more, dreams bigger, trusts God deeper. That person is waiting for you. But they aren't waiting inside your comfort zone. I know uncertainty can feel scary. I talked about it before, but today I want to reframe it. Maybe uncertainty isn't something we fear. Maybe uncertainty is simply unopened possibilities. Every road you've never walked, contains something you've never seen. Every person you never met could change your life. Every opportunity you never taken could become your greatest story. So here's my challenge for you this week. Do one thing your old self wouldn't normally do. Go somewhere new. Try something new. Talk to someone new. Read a different book. Take a different route home. Sign up for that class. Apply for that job. Visit that town. Say yes to the invitation. Because adventure teaches you something. Even if it's simply, I've learned that this is not for me. That's still growth. Remember, you weren't created to just exist. You were created to explore, to learn, to grow, to become. Because the world is far bigger than the life you already exist. And so are you. Thank you for spending time with me. Until next time, keep healing out loud, keep growing through what tried to break you, and don't be afraid to chase the adventure because that often's where your becoming begins. In this episode, and if this episode encouraged you, I would love to hear from you. What's one adventure you're saying yes to this week? Send me an email or leave me a comment. I would love to celebrate the step with you. And if you don't want to miss episodes or the upcoming Becoming Workbook series and our growing community, join my email list. Trust me, FOMO is real. Until next time, keep becoming. Thank you. God bless.